The moments of my past that are the most difficult for me to talk about are lessons in perspective as I am challenged to grow into the best leader that I can possibly be. Due to my problem with substance, I left high school at the age of 16 and didn't know if I would finish it. See, I knew I had potential, but I was constantly dismissing it. Oblivious and ignorant to the path I chose to take, I couldn't stay away from trouble and continued to make mistakes. I found in denial of my sickness, I found myself without a home, and I bounced from couch to couch until I had nowhere to go. Sick and the only option that I had left was to put myself through treatment, and sick and tired of this life, I promised myself that I would leave it. I started making progress and began to put my pieces back together. I found myself enrolled in school, I was sober, and I wanted to get better. I knew I had potential in my palms, but I didn't know how to release it. See, I knew I had a purpose, but I needed direction to achieve it. School was a step in the direction of this process. School was a step in the process of these changes, but I wanted to continue with this growth, and I needed structure to maintain it. My brother saw this, and he introduced me to Global Visionaries. He told me that they would provide me with tools and a space to grow. So nervously, I filled out the application, and I was accepted. From that point on, I learned how to grow in a new direction. See, before GV, there were a lot of things that I hadn't done. And now I look back on what I've learned in this program, and I am proud of what I've become. See, I made goals, and I accomplished them. I followed through, and I showed up. I was held accountable for my mistakes, and I was given space to open up. In the months before this trip, the workshops that I took part in, they helped me realize my potential. See, I found power in my voice, and I learned that I could be influential. In high school, I sat in the back of the class and I slept through the lesson. But on the GV Leadership Retreat, I sat up straight in a room full of 30 youth and I shared my truth and perspective. See, it's difficult to explain the significance of being given a space to open up and knowing that there's power in overcoming my struggles, when at one point it seemed that all my doors to opportunity were locked shut. See, my journey had begun long before my plane left the ground. The night before my trip, I looked into the mirror and found a young man who had earned this moment. I found a young man who was proud of the path that I had chosen. For 2 weeks in Guatemala, I explored the responsibility that I discovered with this newfound sense of self. I found families with little material possessions, but were rich in spiritual wealth. See, I found meaning beyond myself, and I was challenged to see beyond my perspective. I learned that to lean on a community for help, and I found that my actions spoke louder than my intentions. See, the everyday situations that I would encounter forced me to confront my own senses of privilege and entitlement. That everything that I had earned would be much more difficult if I grew up in a different environment. I looked into the eyes of a mother who provides for her family on $5 a day. The echo of her existence is still present, and it influences the decisions that I make. I saw children wielding machetes instead of pencils, because farming coffee is more profitable than their education. Their presence still echoes in my heartbeat, and it reminds me that my privilege is a responsibility to change unjust situations. I returned from Guatemala with drive to change the world that I see. I learned that my responsibility is to reverse oppression and give back to the communities what my communities have given to me. I learned that every day I can't hold a picket sign, and every day I can't make a speech, but that does not mean that I cannot continue to grow and make this change internally. I am the change in how I act when nobody is watching. I am the change in the way I choose to live my life. I am the change as I continue to educate myself, and there is change in a healthy body and healthy mind. I believe that there is potential for growth in every person that continues to breathe, and every seed needs water and soil before it can blossom into a tree. This coming year, I have committed myself to continuing this process. I will be working with Global Visionaries to help youth. Pursue their potential that lies in their palms. I will give them space to find faith in themselves and tools to right society's wrongs. See, I have grown from a dropout to a leader, and I could not have done this alone. Every aspect that goes into this program has influenced the direction that I continue to grow. It starts in the heart of a student who realizes the power that they behold, but once that spark has been started, there's no limit to how far it can grow. Thank you.